And the idea now is that part of economic development is in the city's interest to encourage entrepreneurs. This is a development of an entrepreneurial ecosystem. So for the past couple of years, my friend has gone up and has sit and participated. So Mr. Mayor, would you please come down?
Thank you, Skip. I really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I want to say I was very fortunate and very honored to go to Kansas City for the second time to the Kaufman Entrepreneurship for Mayors. There were about 80 mayors from across the United States, and there were 2 from the state of Georgia, and I happened to be one. I was just honored to be there. Last year I went and I learned about the ecosystem, and I really didn't know exactly what that was all about. But I was determined to, as I came back again this year, to really get more involved, and I really was. And we talked about entrepreneurship and how cities can help spur this and how it can really help a city grow. But we really talked about how you need people who are trying to grow a city instead of people who are just trying to maintain it all the time. So, and that's one of the main things I learned. Also, I met people out there who talked about venture cafe, almost similar to this, but even better. But they also said that when I told them about our 1 million cups, how we meet, so forth, and how we meet here in a bar, they said, that's the greatest idea right there. So there were a number of people who really wanted to find out how we did this. And I referred them to Skip Mouse, and also about how we here are doing great things in the city of Brunswick. And basically, entrepreneurship is alive and thriving. So then I had to do a project, and my project was to really think about starting an innovation center. Dr. Mounts and I were talking about that before, about trying to get a Mansfield Street building that we have down, the city has down there, and bring that into fruition. Bring the college students downtown, have some classes downtown. Also have it be open for entrepreneurship, for people come in and they want to pitch their idea or do some things. And maybe, I don't want to stop having 1 million cups here because this is a great venue, but in case someone wants to try out some of the things they can do at the Innovation Center. So I'm working on that with the college. One good thing that was really, that touched my heart was the fact that Dr. Mouse was putting in his own personal money to try to get it done. When you have skin in the game, you'd be surprised how people will get things done. So stay tuned for that. We're working on that, try to get that. We would love to see everybody downtown. This is a great venue here. Again, I want to thank everybody for believing in our leadership, and also please know that entrepreneurship is really into my heart. It's something that I'm gonna push hard. I've learned, I got the Bible here, how to do it, and how to bring those systems into play, and also get the city council and the city of Brunswick behind it 100%, so we can move this thing to the next level. So thank you very much and enjoy.
That's great, thank you. If you'd taken that check when I offered it first time,
I should have.
you should have taken it because I ended up buying my grandson tires. So, but there's next month too. I will write that one too.
Okay.
So our first entrepreneur is Terrica Skaggs of Cocktails and Details. Please come on up.
Good morning, y'all. How you doing? Y'all look good. Y'all are a good-looking group. I'm not sure if that's the caffeine or you had a good night's sleep or whatever it is, but you're a good-looking group. My name is Terrica Skaggs. I am a local wedding planner. I started Cocktails and Details about 14 years ago. I'm originally from Baltimore, so I'm a transplant down here, but got me, and I'm not going anywhere now. My husband actually got a job at Flexi, and that's how we moved down here. My entrepreneurial journey started when I was actually studying to become a lawyer. So you can imagine my parents' joy when I said, I'm not going to be Johnny Cochran anymore, guys. I'm going to be J-Lo. Weren't too happy, but I was doing an internship with an amazing attorney, and she had taken on several big conglomerates, and she was just fearless, and I loved everything that she embodied. She also worked on the O.J. Simpson trial. She was just amazing. And one night we were slaving away in her office. I am about 22 years old. I've got a newborn and an infant carrier, and she's like, you know, there's a reason why I never got married and I never had children, because this job will take so much out of you. And being 22 and hard-headed, I know everything, I've seen it all. I was like, no, that won't be me. I can do it. And then I went into court the next day to present a brief. And the judge said, did she help with this? And Marcia said, yes, she did. It's like, it's amazing, but the next time she comes in my courtroom, she better have on a skirt. I was like, check, please. I'm gone. I'm done. I didn't want to do that anymore. I wanted to be a criminal attorney because I wanted to help people, but I knew that that would also have a drag on me personally, and that's not where I wanted to go. So I've always been about experiences and loving people and planning parties. So I said, you know what, I think I'm going to be a wedding planner. And what was so hard was that up in Baltimore, when I was trying to get started, I was looking for internships, because that's normal from where I came from. I was looking for internships, for mentors, and my industry is so closed-minded. My industry is so tight. People are afraid that if they even tell you good morning, that may affect your sales, and you may get one more wedding than they will. So it was very hard. And I contacted someone who was like the upper echelon of our industry at the time. She had been on TV, she had been in several magazines, and I asked her for an internship. I said, it doesn't have to be paid, I'm totally fine, I'll just do your grunt work, I'll do whatever it is that you want to do. And she was like, well, no thank you. I was like, well, okay. Spoke to a few other people, and they were like, we're not going to train our competition. That's the mindset. It's not elevating the industry as a whole. It was, you may compete with me later, so I'm not going to give you any edge. And I went back to the other wedding planner I wanted to intern with, because she called me back again just to revisit. And I told her what was told to me, that people said that they weren't going to train their competition, and she said, oh honey, you'll never be competition. I am still here and she's not, so she's absolutely right. So it was then that I learned that I really wanted to embrace the each one teach one method. So what I did is I started an online community at the time. This is pre-Facebook, so I'm totally aging myself here. But what happened is that I ended up creating one of the largest wedding industry communities across the globe, of people who ran into the same thing, who were very upset that they couldn't get help or support from people in their industry. Instead of them getting it from someone next door, they had to log onto a computer and get it. But I would much rather them get it that way than to have nothing at all. So that was very important to me. So then my husband says, hey, just got this amazing new job, we're gonna have to move to Georgia. I was like, okay. At that time, I was like every other Yankee. I thought that Georgia consisted of mainly Atlanta. That was it. Like, and that's what people do now. They're like, oh, where are you from? Atlanta. I'm like, I am so far from Atlanta. I am nowhere near Atlanta. But we moved down, and I loved it. It immediately spoke to me. I am pretty sure I am the black embodiment of Scarlett O'Hara. Don't argue with me about it. I just knew I was supposed to be down there. I knew it. I absolutely knew it. So I fell in love with it, and when people were asking me, what are you going to do? And I said, oh, I'm going to be, I'm going to open up a wedding planning company. And they're like, you are in the right place. I had no idea that this was such a great destination wedding market and how it would affect me. And so it did. It took off. So what I was not able to get in my own home state, I was able to get here. So Brunswick always has such a warm place in my heart for me and for my business, because what ended up happening was that a lot of my work started getting picked up on TV, It started getting picked up on magazines and blogs. Unfortunately, I may work with one local couple per year, but that means all the rest of my clients are destination wedding clients. And that's because they've seen my work before and they actually choose to come here as opposed to having their wedding at home. And that means so much to me, because that means restaurants like this get revenue, it means hotels get revenue, it means so much of the community that has loved me and embraced me has a way to carry on. So I am extremely passionate about that. I feel bad that I don't know if the locals are afraid of me. I don't bite anymore, that's conditions of my parole, but you can tell people that it's totally okay to work with me if they are local. So as I continued to grow with my wedding planning company, I brought on a team, and I always wanted to make sure that my team stayed grounded. We are always one wedding away, one bad review away of having to do it all over again. So I tell them all the time, even on our setup shirts, it says no do-overs. I can't tell my clients the next day, oh, Bob, Jenny, really sorry about how it went today, but let's meet again tomorrow and try again. It doesn't work like that. So we make sure that we put our absolute best in that day, and that's what we're known for, and that's how we continue to get more and more clients. But then I started speaking. As you can tell, I'm extremely shy. But I started speaking. I'm now a wedding industry educator, so now I travel the globe teaching other wedding professionals my story and exactly what I did from the ground up, without any experience, without really any support or framework or help, how I built my brand that became something that's known all over the world. And then I decided to do it again here. I figured if I could take this to Mexico, if I can take this to California and all of these other places that I travel, I wanted to do it here. So then I opened up another business, which is right up the road up here at 1616 Newcastle. It's called the White Lounge. And that's another way of me giving back. I wanted to try to lure the locals in, again, to show them that I'm okay. But I wanted to give them a safe place to plan their weddings, because, you know, it's daunting. Some of us only do it once, if we're lucky, but we want to make sure that we're doing it right. And it's a huge investment, and I tell my clients all the time, it is immaterial to me if you spend $1,000 or $100,000. I want you to get the value of what it is that you're spending. I want you to have that experience with your father, with your mother, with your family and your friends, because the way that life works, it could be our very last time. So I created the White Lounge so that couples could have a safe place to come in. Not safe, that sounds very odd, doesn't it? Like we're all gonna get mugged every time we walk out of our house. But where they could have a supportive element and a supportive environment where they could plan their weddings and get the support that they need. But also, I'm a mom. I have, well, people ask me how many kids I have, and I say, well, I have 3 children, but one is kind of questionable. One is like a little mob boss. He runs everybody. He is just, he's out there. So I have 4 children, and I literally built my business at my kitchen island with my kids and their puppies and their toys at my feet. So I know what it's like to be that working mom and to not have an office to meet with clients, and you're trying to sell them on this amazing dream, and they're like, that's great, but why are we meeting in Starbucks? So I know also what it's like to have to get out of your house because laundry is creeping up on you and you have to pick and choose. And I didn't want that for a lot of our creative professionals, because if you have not met a lot of our photographers, our makeup artists, our cinematographers, we have some amazing creative talent here. And I also wanted to give them a place where they could go and they could work. They could go and bring their clients and meet. They didn't have to meet in a coffee shop. There's nothing wrong with coffee shops. But when you are working with a client that is about to hand over thousands to you, they want to make sure that they can trust you. They want to make sure that you're a professional. And I also know everyone cannot invest in office space. So my plan was to create a space that was supportive for wedding professionals and other creative professionals where they could show up and do what they do. So that's what the White Lounge is. It both supports wedding couples and it also supports the wedding professionals as well. And I feel like that has helped me tremendously to come back full circle to where people are like, oh my gosh, you know, I won't train my competition, to where now I will tell you anything that you need to know, because I'm my own competition when I look in the mirror. I'm working to be better than I was yesterday, not better than the person next to me. So that is definitely something that I really want to embody and that I really want to bring back to Brunswick. When I was looking for a space, I wanted to make sure that I found somewhere that was here, because I love this area. It reminds me of home. But thank you so much for having me. I think I've prattled on enough. So.
No, that's good. The first thing I would suggest is you need to work on your enthusiasm.
You know what? I'll do my best. I'll try.
I've got some issues here.
It really is.
So it's very good. All right. Questions.
As a community, what can we help you with right now?
I would love to get more information about how we can help build this area up, because I feel like a lot of the island gets a lot of the wedding attention and we don't get any down here. We actually did a shoot the day after Thanksgiving. So many people were upset with me because we had to like roll over and get on our elastic pants and get back to work. But we did a New Orleans on Newcastle Street. So we did a second line up and down the street. We needed a permit, Mr. Mayor, please forgive me. I apologize. You did not hear a word I just said. But we did a second. We recruited some of the Brunswick High musicians, so they were our actual musicians for the shoot. We did a second line up and down the street. We did a shoot in Old City Hall. We did a couple of things here. So whatever we can find out more information about bringing it here, because I think Brunswick is phenomenal. I would love to know more about that. I really would.
All right. Another question. Are you a member of the Golden Isles Wedding Association?
I am not a member of the association.
Justin Henshaw is owns that.
Yes.
Good questions. Come on. Good questions. All right, Chef.
How you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
The information that you just put out, very, very, very important to me and valuable. Like with my catering company, I find when I deal with people who are from out of state, which I do a lot of out of state weddings and stuff like that, your service is definitely needed. Because I find myself trying to do some of this stuff that I know I don't know how to do. I know how to make cakes, but I don't do cakes anymore, so now I'm sending them off to different people, and every time that I do something like that, it always questions whether or not it's going to come back to bite me or not.
Sure.
Like one particular time I did, the cake was supposed to be blue because they were going to reveal that,
Oh, the gender reveal.
and I'm just automatically just assuming that it was going to be right.
Right.
And I'm cooking my food, and I know my food is right and everything, and I'm proud of myself because I was able to assist someone from Tennessee and Oklahoma, and they cut the cake, and it was white. And I didn't pay attention to it. I'm like, and I noticed everybody was looking at me. I was like, I did a good job. You know what I mean?
They're speechless.
And later on, I found out that the cake color was wrong. So I found out that I'm not a wedding planner. I'm not into any of that type of stuff, but I'll be looking forward to working with you.
Likewise, I think that we can really balance each other because I don't bake, I eat.
All
So
right.
that would be phenomenal. That would be phenomenal. And you know what, you make a really good point, because I tell people in my industry as well, when they say, oh, can you just give me a referral, or can you just do this? Referrals cost money. They cost. They cost my reputation. They cost my brand. So I can completely understand why you feel that way.
All right. I'll
Absolutely.
be seeing you soon.
I look forward to working with you.
All right. Some more questions. Don't be shy. All right, back here.
I don't need that.
I know you know.
Just a quick question. Do you do 100% of your marketing online, or do you do any print media, any electronic media other than online? Is that your 100% of your marketing effort?
I'm a majority online person just because I have so many clients that come in from out of town that print really wouldn't work for me to send out. A majority of our clients are on Pinterest and Instagram and Facebook, so I have 3 seconds to capture their attention, and I do so with like veiled threats in the captions.
All right. Another question. Well, thank you very,
Thank
very
you
much.
for having me.
And,